see you, Reverend.
Hey, Doc,
how you doing?
Good to see you.
Donna, good to see you again. How you doing? Well, growing up here in Brooklyn and joining the civil rights movement at a young age, I can't remember a time that we were not debating the issue of reparations. Queen Mother Moore and others in Harlem had been followers of Marcus Garvey long before I was born, and in my childhood made this a clarion call. But it's always been a controversy. It's always been some for and against it, and surprisingly, not just in the white community, but in the black community. There was always those that agreed with it and those that opposed it. So I thought we'd sit around the shop today and talk to some people who are certainly accomplished in their field and not bashful to talk about this issue at all. And when I think of someone not bashful that'll speak what they feel and speak truth as they know it, they could put his picture next to that, the definition, that's Armstrong Williams. And even though we are in different political persuasions and parties and don't agree on some things, we've always respected the fact that we talk straight to each other. So I'm glad, even though you don't have any hair, that you came to the barbershop today. Where do you stand on reparations, Armstrong?
Obviously, it's a very noble idea, given our history in this country that we were promised 40 acres and a mule. The government made a contract with American blacks in this country. They did not honor it. But we're so many centuries removed from reparations that it's really it's a non-argument. It's an argument to further exploit the people that we need to empower. The government would say that when they gave us affirmative action during the 60s, that was reparations. The only problem with that is that the only people who really benefited from it were white women. Blacks still to this day have not fully benefited from affirmative action. What we need to do is focus our energies on things that we can move forward with, things that we can make a difference, and things that will happen. To have reparations, it would pay to be black, everybody would find some black blood in this country, and it literally would bankrupt this country. The country cannot afford it.
Well, in a perfect world, speaking philosophically, yes, we should get reparations. I mean, it'd be nice for us to get reparations. People who've been wronged in the past have gotten reparations. That'd be nice. But the reality of it is that I don't see how it happens. I mean, I'm with Armstrong on that. I don't see, how do you figure out who gets it? In other words, if you're black and your roots are in the West Indies, now there was slavery there too. How about somebody who's mixed? How about somebody who's mixed, who's a quarter black, 3/4 white, and 1/4 black, or half black and half white and looks white? And do they get reparations? They should, shouldn't they?
These people watch Shop Talkers. We always have a surprise. I have Donna Lamb, who is white. There's nothing wrong with your television. She is really white.
I'm really white.
And I met Donna in the last decade. I can't think of a march or protest or going to jail I did that Donna wasn't there. And Donna believes in reparations.
I certainly do.
I want you to shame these two black men and tell me, as a white woman, why you believe in reparations.
Well, and I'm not gonna shame these two black men, you know, and this is quite an experience being myself with two people who oppose it, and I'm, you know, 2 against 1, but I'm gonna tell you simply why I support reparations. I do it because I believe that it's right. And just as with the end of slavery, that if we had stopped at, oh, well, gee, it's so hard, and is it practical, and how do you do it, and it's so daunting, we never would have had the end of slavery. We never would have gotten women the vote if it was all depending on how hard it is. And I believe that what happened is, as Reverend Watkins said, that people of African descent were forced to work for free, and they were brutalized and bred like cattle and raped, and just unconscionable things were done. But just sticking to the money that should have been earned by the people who were doing the work, enslaved Africans, went instead into the pockets of white people and was passed down generation after generation in our families, doubling and tripling in value all the way, whereas black families didn't have anything to pass down since it was stolen from their ancestors. So I believe that it's not something that was long ago and far away, that it is extremely current right today, that the economic disparity.
Give us your background, because I don't want them to think you was just some white lady I picked up at marches.
Yeah.
Give me your credentials. credentials?
Well, I'm the communications director for Caucasians United for Reparations and Emancipation. And we're an organization that was founded about 14 years ago by the white woman Ida Hakeem. And we exist solely and completely to support black-led initiatives for reparations.
I just want folks to know you for real, because people sitting home saying I just stacked the deck on Armstrong. Well, Armstrong, she said we should get it because it's right.
Not only it's right, it's immoral that we did not get it. It's immoral what happened. I mean, you and I don't disagree on the morality and the right or wrong of the issue. But, you know, when former President Bill Clinton tried to apologize for slavery, he was booed by many American blacks who were offended that you thought that you could just give us an apology and we're supposed to move on. This isn't an issue that would have been debated when Bill Clinton was in the White House. Why wasn't it debated when they had all the clout? The Congressional Black Caucus and Jesse Jackson, including you, Mr. Sharpton, had all the access to this White House. Why? Because it would not happen. So if it did not happen under a president who you feel seem to believe has more of an affinity to your issues and care more about the concerns of your community, what makes you think it's going to happen on this down? It's just not going to happen. I wished it could have happened. But for me, if the government tried to give me my 40 acres a mule and try to pay me, I would not take it. I find it even offensive that almost 300 years later, they think they can pay us and everything is going to be okay.
Well, let me say this, and I want Reverend Watkins to get in. I think you're right that Clinton could have done more than offer an apology. He didn't, and that's one of the reasons why one of the largest marches I ever led was against Bill Clinton with the Keepers of the Dream March in 2000. We couldn't even get a racial profile executive order out of Bill Clinton, let's alone reparations. But I think that in the matter of race, both parties seem very similar. Reverend Watkins,
Well,
is it the right thing to do?
it would be the right thing to do. There's no doubt about it. I don't know of too
So
many.
you guys are saying it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think the votes are there. I think it'd take a massive campaign to do it, a massive lobbying campaign that would cost millions of dollars. And the truth of the matter is except for Armstrong Williams, who would not accept the money, I don't know of anybody black who wouldn't accept the money. I mean,
Well, I'll take Armstrong's 48.
me too. We'll split it.
Well, reparations is simply a debt owed to repair a historical wrong, a historical injustice, not only to repair us spiritually, physically, but economically. We've been here since 1619. That's 385 years we've been on this side of Jordan, and 246 of those years have been legal chattel slavery. They owe us. They owe us for the racism that still exists to this day. You know, some people say, well, Charles, you know, slavery was a long time ago. All right, so if you can't handle slavery, how about this? In 1900, 1910, 1920, 1930, 1940, 1950, 1960, Jim Crowism, we paid taxes into a system to build schools that we couldn't attend. We paid taxes into a system that wouldn't allow us to go to the hospitals, public hospitals that our taxpaying dollars paid for. Pay us back them taxes. And how about this? No taxation without reparation. We need America to fess up to this. A crime was committed, a people have been injured, and compensation